governments.
It's true. But taking away the
people, he's alright. Just let me get myself together here. I'm a wee bit higher now. Let's get on. Fuck it. What he's all doing, he's alright. So, let me just get myself together here. Couple of wee things I'm going to shout out just before I get into any of this. Hope everybody's well. Des, nice to see that you get back home this afternoon, mate. Always good to be in familiar, secure, safe environment, mate, you know. So, first and foremost, again, I'm going to link PayPal in the description of this. If anybody can and wants to donate to Des and also Flat Earth Female for ongoing treatments for cancers, please do so. If anybody out there ever wanted to give me anything or thinks I somehow deserve something or whatever, if you've got it spare, I would appreciate it if you put it towards these people, because obviously right now is a time of need, you know, and for me we have to support that type of thing. You know, I don't want or need for anything right now. I know that we're all skint and we don't live like millionaires, but if we've got anything spare, you know, it'd be great if people could donate to it. It's a good cause. It's not like somebody's selling some shitty product. I've said this before. This is for these people's life and their health, you know. Obviously Flat Earth Female Anne is going through the same, and Des, as many people know, is in a pretty bad way. So again, you know, I don't like all this begging and people asking each other for money, but when it comes to situations like this, I'm going to put that robe down and ask people, if you ever wanted to donate anything to me, please just send it to these people, because, you know, it's going to be a worthwhile cause. Alright, so the links I'll be putting in the description. I've got Desi's there. I just need to pick up Anne's Flat Earth Female. So just bear with me a wee second here.
Hi everybody.
I think this is it. Just 2 seconds, people will be there and we'll get on with this. Just need to do it right now so that I don't forget. Oops. Save changes. Right. Should be done. Come back. What's happening here? Yeah, that's fucking annoying me, this game on here. What's happening? Let me see. Right, that's a bit better. That's a wee bit better. So, a couple of things. I just want to give a shout out to Anthony. Totally forgot, went out of my mind when I was giving shout outs for the last one. Anthony came on Saturday morning and was kind enough to travel down here from Oban and install the wood burner, so much appreciated, mate. Also, Chris F.E. Jackson, he stopped by to visit me. It was nice to see you as well, mate. I appreciate, you know, for obvious reasons. I'm no bother getting into any of that right now, but it was nice to see you as well, bud. So, and I hope the other meetups went well. I hope everybody had a good time. So, anyway, what I'm going to be discussing this evening, you know, for me, there's an online activity and presence, you know, a real push to try and contain, and you know, a lot of these characters for me, they're appealing to the chaff, they're appealing to the weak-minded chaff who are quite content to find some sort of confirmation bias, you know, from any character online or, you know, public representative who is spewing the same religious narratives and, you know, pseudoscience and sophistry that they've been taught through the mainstream education. So a lot of people like to champion these types of characters. But again, you know, these characters may be having a buzz, making money and stuff and thinking that they're some sort of relevance. But for me, as I say, you know, for anybody with any sort of level of intelligence or who has any awareness of what's actually going on, it's quite obvious that these people are only there to try and contain the chaff. That's their target audience. You know, so guys like the character I'm about to show you, you know, he's pretty lowbrow, pretty lacking in any kind of, you know, intelligence, and no rational or logical enough to come to the table and have an actual objective discussion about what the facts are and, you know, trying to make some progress. Guys like him seem to be on task to try and perpetuate an existing bullshit, you know, government religious narrative. You know, and that's pretty much all they've got. So for me, that they have an online presence, and I'm going to have a look at them objectively. I don't know any of these people, so I don't encourage any hatred towards any of them. We do not know the reality of any of these people's situations or what drives them or motivates them. We can only have a look at their content and highlight it for the obvious sophistry and pseudoscience that it actually is. But again, any of these people are welcome to come to the table and actually have, you know, rational, reasonable, logical discussion on the facts, you know, impersonal, non-religious, non-political, none of that stuff. But as I say, a lot of these characters are just hell-bent on portraying and perpetuating that type of nonsense. So that's up to them. I'm not going to judge them on their motives or their incentives or their situation, whatever it is that may be driving them. I can only look at the content and what the actual facts are. So this character, don't get me wrong, I mean, this character has made me laugh a couple of times, but it's you know, it's lowbrow, you know, it's repetitive, it can only go so far, and the majority of the content is based off other people. You know, I could sit here all day and cut up videos of certain moments of people trying to make them look ridiculous, but then I would be entering into the realms of an agent of propaganda and trying to sway people's opinions and beliefs and all that stuff based on, you know, manipulative tactics. And that's just not who I am. This is straight down the middle. I'm tired of the propaganda and the ways of this structure that we all live in right now. It's old hat, it's fucking boring, it's retarded. It's time to pull up your socks and raise your intellect, lads. You know, the game's over. It's not going to go anywhere. You know, your globe's done. The sooner you realise that, the better. So as I say, I'll leave it up to people who may be watching this to make their own mind up about the reasons and what these people are actually offering. But as far as I can see, they're not offering anything but the same tired old rhetoric, sophistry, pseudoscience, and downright zealotry. So, let me just get up what I need to get up here. Excuse the pun. I would find it really difficult to get it up for this character. That's the right one. So as I say, they've got an online, you know, presence, and they're trying to appeal to the chaff. And it makes you wonder, they're obviously being bumped by the algorithms and, you know, favoured for obvious reasons. Where is this guy? So we'll have a wee look at Sophism as well. We'll just lay a couple of things out before we actually get into it. So, as I say, when I'm talking about objectivity, I'm talking about the natural world, the world that's beyond you and I, that we exist within, and its substances and what we experience from day to day. Now, you know, people have heard me so many times. It is in engineering, construction, navigation, travel, there's a certain geometry that is assumed, and it is planar. You know, I have friends who are, you know, top end engineers who understand this now. There is many walks of life who are coming to this. You know, again, it's just what you have to understand is that people have been under a hypnotic trance. They are suffering from the symptoms of hypnotism and brainwashing. You know, things that they never ever looked at and just assumed to be true, while right under their nose the answers were telling them what was actually going on. So again, before we even get into this, the geometric assumption and applications that are going on are planar. We use and utilise Euclidean plane principles. Now these things were about and being utilised and used way before guys like, you know, Euclid came along and started to compile it into a book. It's a common sense understanding of your direct reality, you know, coupled with a practical application through the necessity of everyday living. Okay, now that, you know, evolved over through time to more complexity and advanced into, you know, avenues of expertise like engineering and, you know, whatever else, aviation. So, you know, the assumptions that are made before we do any of this is that the Earth is a level plane. Okay, that's what we assume is the geometry, and that's what we apply. Okay, so you know, right away you should understand that the Earth is understood to be what it is, but at a later time, you know, we have a group, you know, of who started organisations and started to push a different narrative. Now that narrative is purely backed up by an image that we see on the TV screen. It's not backed up by anything practical or demonstrable. It only exists as an image. Now, to try and support that image, they have explanations and mathematical equations to try and support it. Or use of rhetoric. These are the use of rhetoric. It's a language. It's, you know, like any other sophisticated lie. It has nothing practical. It can't be demonstrated to you in any way, shape or form. It can only be insisted to you through the use of words. Okay, now they use other aspects. They will use body language. They'll use NLP. They'll use imagery. You know, they'll use ridicule. They'll use whatever tactic they can possibly utilize in order to try and maintain the belief in the majority. But as I say, at this moment in time now, a lot of these characters, the only target audience they have are the chaff. They're willfully ignorant, bewildered. Okay, so that tells you a lot about these people. Again, people like myself, consider myself an ex-cult member. I was born into this claim that I lived on the exterior of an oblate spheroid, zipping through a vacuum, you know, with a compressed gaseous environment adjacent to an empty vacuous space. This is the absurdity that I now consider that I was born into. So for me, you know, I have no horse to back. I have no preference. I have no bias. I'm just an honest skeptic, cynic, trying to understand my reality and ask questions. That's the only thing anybody can ever do, is question their reality, question their experiences, question the things that people are putting to them, and see if they hold up to your discernment. Now that's up to you. Everybody has a different level of discernment. You know, as I say, people are quite happy to adopt a belief in some concept or idea, and they will do nothing but seek bias confirmation. They will only look to avenues that they can find that support and make their assumption or belief more secure, regardless of whether it's actually true. So you'll see a lot of that. You see a lot of that in my experience of removing myself from the cult mentality into a place of freedom to inquire and freedom to reason with what's going on. Now this cult doesn't like that. What I've experienced is that, you know, these zealots have a real bee in their bonnet about anybody who dares to question their narrative. You know, again, if they were secure in their narrative and if it was objectively true, we would never see the influx of opposition to people asking the questions about the globe heliocentric model. You would never see any of these characters that I'm about to show you. All they offer is slander and ridicule in the hope that people will never pay any attention to anybody who is seriously questioning the official narrative. This is a tactic that's been used, you know, a lot through our lives. You can see it in all the different arenas, okay, from politics to religion to relationships. It's prominent, you know, everywhere, okay. So in this case, it's no different. In this case, it's upped. It's meant to be objective. It's meant to be, you know, impersonal scientific inquiry, exploration of the objective reality. Nobody owns it. Nobody has the right to dictate what it is and what it isn't to anybody else. The only thing we can do is observe, see what we find, then we can make statements, and then we can offer up our practical reference to our findings. If we do not have the practical reference to the claims we are making, we're dealing with liars. It's as simple as that. Okay? Anybody makes any claim to you at any level and they cannot demonstrate what they're claiming to you, you know they're a liar. So, again, I'm not going to say this guy is willfully lying. That's up to you to decide. Again, we don't know his motivations. It's very difficult to have an honest conversation with any of these people. All we get is zealotry and antagonistic behaviours and, you know, downright stupidity. So, I don't know what the motives are behind these people, and I'm not going to make any assumptions. Again, I do not condone, you know, anybody trying to represent me or my endeavours here at this platform and going and harassing and chastising these people. That's not what I'm about. I don't care about any of that. I only care about establishing what's objectively true. So, let me just drinking my tea. Hello everybody, Gleba, Phil Jones, Nicholas, Mary Moon, Rip Torn, Celtic 67, David Marks, Freedom Awaits, Selanelian, Eye Level Awakening, Stephen Watson, Leroy Foster. Hello Flat Earth Female, nice to see you there as well. I know there's always too many to say hi to, just hello to all. Steve HV, Squirrel Sniper, Terry Hayes. Terry Hayes, I'm sure that's you from Facebook who's been making oil for people. It's much appreciated, mate. Anybody who offers anything up that can help any of these people is greatly appreciated. So, P900, West Coast Wisdom, how you doing? Tony Dixon, Harry Hepworth, Michael Mack, Terry Hayes, I'm alright. Steve HV, cheers, I hope you're good yourself, mate. Again, Steve HV does good uploads in regards to the trivium, grammar, logic, rhetoric, highlighting some of the aspects that are used and utilised against the bewildered public, you know, from, again, politics, religion, science, so worth checking out. Nice one, McToon. Good on you. Las Vegas Elite, how you doing? I don't need to lean forward, I've just noticed that there, you can see me. Anyway, so let's just have a wee understanding, okay? So, Sophism, a method of teaching using techniques of philosophy and rhetoric, okay? It's basically just trying to convince people or corral people into a certain train, avenue, focus, using linguistics. You know, we utilise and use this in everyday life, not just in science, but in everyday life. You know, everybody's using it. But in particular, you will notice with this globe concept that that's the majority of what it utilises and uses. It only has sway with linguistics. As I say, it doesn't have anything demonstrable. So, pseudoscience, let's just, so that everybody's on the same page, we'll take the accepted definition. A set of ideas that presents itself as science, well, it does not meet the criteria to be properly called such, which is exactly what the globe is. Okay, an image is not a scientific measurement. Okay, rhetoric, use of linguistics, propaganda, ridicule, these are no tools of exploration and objective measurement and quantification. Okay, these are the tools of liars, people who want to sell you products, you know, all that kind of thing. Know what we're looking at. So I've got a wee video lined up here as well that I'll share once we get through this. So it's not going to be that long. I'm going to break these down into parts. I'm going to focus on some of the different characters just to give you a flavour of what they're like and the tactics that they actually use. And I'll also give a quick scan of their channels and we'll see what they actually have to offer in regards to, you know, any globe proofsies, which you know and I know is going to be seriously lacking. So Conspiracy Catz is also welcome to join me. If you want to join me and have a rational, logical discussion with me, then you're more than welcome to do so. Okay? So there's no need for any of your childlike behaviours. You can speak to me like a man if you're capable. You seem to be a bit of a beta male, so I don't know if you're actually capable of stepping up to that mark, but the invitation's there for you. You will get manners, you will get respect, you'll get decency from me if you can return the very same. Again, I'm going to encourage people that, you know, this avenue is very useful. I discourage people from taking sides on false dichotomies. There only is one single reality. All these people who are professing to be flat earthers, globe earthers, concave earthers, they are perpetuating a dichotomy and a divide amongst people when people really shouldn't have a divide when we're talking about the singular objective reality. So there's something seriously wrong with that. And people like Conspiracy Catz may or may not take responsibility for his contributions to that. He may still try and perpetuate it and take the intellectual snooty high ground that he thinks he has in his belief system. Okay, and that's why you have Conspiracy Catz. You have a belief system. You don't have anything else. Right? It's going to become very apparent, you know, if you don't pull your socks up and smarten yourself up, that you're just an oppressor to people. You're trying to subdue the actual truth from coming out, and you don't want people to actually progress. Now, if you're like me, you're just a family guy and you live amongst people. As this ticks on, believe me, it's not going to go away, mate. Right? There's people from all walks of life, increasingly so now. As I say, I'm now speaking to friends of mine who are in high-end engineering roles, and they're coming to it. They understand the geometric assumptions, the applications that they are utilising and using in the real world. Okay? So, that's up to you to disagree. You need to articulate that and your reasons. Okay, so you're welcome to join. You can let us know in the chat box. You can either join me right now or I'm just going to go through your stuff and highlight it. Choice is yours, mate. We give him a couple of minutes to make his mind up. As I say, at this point, people should understand that these people who are trying to perpetuate the dichotomy are very, very obvious. They're playing propaganda games. Okay, I'll just go through your stuff. You've been invited, so you can message me and you can let me know when you're available if you want to have that discussion. Alright? So, let me just see here. Screen share. Let me just make sure that's working. Okay. Photo and So what we'll see here is the aspect of his comedy. As I say, it's had me laughing a couple of times, but it's pretty boring now. And again, it's no an artistic expression on his part. He's not got any artistic expression. He has to, leech off the back of other individuals and utilise them in order to perpetuate his own ends and make his own money off of YouTube or whatever it may be. But that's up to him. That says more about him than anything else. I'm secure in myself and I'm secure in what I know. He can use my beautifulness all he likes. It's not going to change the facts. It's not going to resolve any of this. So, whatever. So, we'll just get by his clownery here.
Utter moronic clownery.
Right, we get it.
Moronic clown.
To my own comment section, where the Conspiracy Cats community have been doing an amazing job of. This is about Dell's ability to do science.
So Dell's ability to do science. Again, this is the very first video I uploaded. It was tongue-in-cheek. Let me just come off of that a wee second, just to look here. So the very first video was tongue-in-cheek. It was to make the point, okay, that it's absurd that anybody would believe that the abundant substance known as water would have the ability to wrap itself around the exterior of any object, regardless of size, and maintain that upon its surface. So we're going to listen to him and we're going to question some of his aspects. First and foremost, in fact, I'm just going to let it go, and then we'll get to it. So this was just tongue in cheek, but valid nonetheless, because it's practicality. It's a real demonstration of a real substance and how it actually behaves in the actual real world, and not just an explanation on a whiteboard.
It doesn't appear to be filling up to the shape of the ball. It seems to be running off the bottom here.
Now, I'm going to put the link to Dell's full video in my description so you can check it out and see I'm not cherry picking. But the point Dell is trying to prove here is that with that squashed up football, when he sprays it with a hose pipe, that those holes or indentations in the football don't fill up with water and form a perfect sphere.
That's the tongue-in-cheek aspect. The bit that Mr. Catz here deliberately avoids is that it's a demonstration of a substance and its physicality, its known structure, its known behaviour, and the things that it cannot do. That's the bit he misses out, and tries to focus on the nonsensical aspects. So let's see what else.
Like he imagines the oceans on Earth. So therefore, the water...
No, I don't imagine the oceans on Earth. That is the way the globe dictates and shows the oceans on Earth. Mounded up, displaying a curve upon the surface. That's the globe model. I'm not sure if you really understand that's what it's actually saying. So rivers, lakes, oceans, ponds, swimming pools are all curving, and the surface of the water is displaying it upon it. That's no reality, Conspiracy Cats, and you know that's no reality. So I'm dying to know what it is you've actually got by way of practicality to show us the nonsensical way that this substance is actually behaving.
Doesn't do it on a football, then it doesn't do it on the Earth.
Again.
Why would it do it on the Earth? Again, Mr. Catz, I have to point to you that your whole gravity aspect, okay? This here is now attached to the Earth. Right or wrong? It is now attached to the Earth and considered a part of the mass of the Earth. Correct? No? Is it that each and every object, even although it's connected to the Earth, has its own gravity? What is this gravity? Is it a geometry? Is it a substance? Does it have any set size? What is this thing that you like to use, this word? What is it about this fantastical, invisible, magical energy and force that injects something into this water? What is the conditions? What is your reasoning for thinking that this liquid, this substance, can now bend and display a bend upon its surface? Can you demonstrate that? Can you actually show us the physicality of what this force is actually doing to the substance to allow that to happen? What is your rhetoric? You can't just keep saying gravity and you don't understand. We do understand. So if you're going with the mass, attracting mass scenario, I'm connected to the earth, so is the ball. So is it no, just one big mass? More mass, more gravity. Correct? Why then is water running from the higher altitude of more mass, like a mountain, down into a gully or valley where there is less mass? Why is this happening?
It's running off the sides. I can't get it to mound up to the shape of the board. I don't know why.
What the fuck you just say?
Again, he's got to use other people. He's got no creativity of his own. He can only leech off other people and try and use their stuff.
Del, you are never coming back from this.
Oh, I'm never going away, son. Never going away. You can delude yourself all you like. I ain't going anywhere. You ain't coming back. You've got nowhere to run. You're the reality denier. And we all know it. And you know it. Only you know the reasons for your situation. I can see it in you. You're not convinced by any of the bullshit that you spew. You know it's crap.
This is literally the most stupid thing I've ever seen.
No, you're the most stupid thing I've ever seen, son. You're going to show your stupidity in a wee second as soon as you pull this whiteboard out.
Oh, sorry, boys. Second most stupid.
Oh. Made me laugh one or two times. Now you're fucking boring.
Leveling this to this side.
You see, Del, just like I've been saying to Peter and Pete all this time, you have to understand the model you're trying to debunk.
Yes, we do understand it. Oh, we understand it perfectly. It's all words and jibber jabber. Do you have an actual model, Conspiracy Cats? A challenge to you, son. Can you produce for me a scaled down version of this globular earth that you claim we live upon? I challenge you to a practical model build. I know you're going to shit your pants, run away and make excuses, but hey ho, the challenge is there for you. I challenge Conspiracy Baldy Cats here to a scaled down model build. Let's see who can actually achieve a real life scaled model using the real elements of our objective reality.
If your observations, your real world observations, your objective reality as you call it, if that fits the model you're trying to debunk, then you're not debunking it. Now I will explain to you what the model is. I will explain to you.
How does a water not having the ability to conform to the exterior of shapes and objects, can only take the shape of the containment, and the surface will be an equilibrated, even plane in every direction? That does not fit your idiotic mathematical concept that exists only on paper.
How science actually works. And if you can come up with something that defies what I tell you, fair play.
No, son, what you need to understand is you can say whatever you like. I can say stuff and then just pass the burden of proof to you and say it's up to you to prove me wrong. That's illogical, retarded nonsense. You're not the brightest. You're really not that clever at all.
But all you're doing now is showing me what I already know. But showing me that you've got such a lack of intelligence, such a lack of a grasp of simple science, that you think this means something.
A grasp of simple science. He doesn't understand fluid mechanics and fluid dynamics here, this guy. He really thinks that a body of water will bend and wrap around the exterior of a sphere and display it on its surface. Where in reality would they have ever experienced that, and can he demonstrate it in any way, shape or form? Absolutely nowhere.
Like I said, you're never coming back from this. This is just embarrassing.
How long ago was this? 20th of August 2018. What are we at now? We're now on 5th of April 2019. I never went anywhere. I don't know what's going on in that delusional brain of yours, but it's certainly not what you think's happening, because I ain't going anywhere, son.
Mind out, because
everybody's a bit of a cunt sometimes.
I don't know if you can see this here, but these objects here seem to have fell out with gravity. And gravity doesn't like them because they seem to be floating. Now, is it either gravity doesn't like these objects, or is it because maybe these objects are less dense?
Or maybe you were ill the 5 years they did science at secondary school. Now, Del, I'm going to explain to you.
Oh, there we go. The reason the football demo sucked is because it debunks the globe, and he doesn't like it. No, this is part of the sophistry that we're going to focus on. No, we've got a guy who's utilising a formal science known as mathematics, a language-based science, not something that's demonstrable, not something that's practical or applied in any practical way, unless of course it is something that's today with practical application. But bendy bodies of water and the such like is not a practical thing. He knows it. That's why he's not out in the real world showing you some sort of practicality. He's sitting here with a whiteboard just like, you know, any other brainwasher would be doing to young children. Or bewildered adults, for that matter. So let's have a listen to this garble.
Quite a few misconceptions that you regularly make on your...
This is part of the NLP, where he likes to try and sit there and take the intellectual high ground and state it with authority. Again, he's probably learned this. The guy stated that he teaches infants, children. So this may work on bewildered, impressionable, scared little kids. But it doesn't work on a man like me who will tear you to fucking shreds, son, and rip you a new one for dare trying that aspect. So I suggest that you stop your wee beta male attempts at dominance, because you just don't have it in you, okay?
Sure. Anyway, let's start with the football claim. This formula you will have seen, the formula for the gravitational force between two objects. We have the gravitational...
So we're starting from an assumption. He's taken his gravitational concept, an assumption, and asserting it to already be true. You'll see it here, he's already using it in his wee stupid equation. He's also got the radius of the Earth, another assumption that the Earth has already been proven to be an oblate spheroid. None of that's true. So right off the bat here, Sonny Boy is utilising assumptions and belief systems and trying to assert them and pass them off as somehow relevant. Yet all we're seeing is wee squiggles with black ink on a whiteboard. What's that got to do with a practical demonstration of substance in the natural world, conspiracy cats? Do you not understand and see the obvious stupidity that you're exerting here? Really, really stupid, son. I don't know what's wrong with you. Take the cotton buds out your ears and actually listen. You are using mathematical definitions and axioms, assumptions that have never been shown, never been demonstrated in any way, shape or form. Now you're going to try and use this to try and sway the onlooker into believing the absurdity that a body of water can bend and will display the bend upon its surface. How retarded are you? How desperate are you? You're too used to dealing with infants. I think it's fed your ego and you've deluded yourself into thinking you're a big macho man. You're just a silly wee boy.
Constant. We have the mass of one of the objects, the mass of the second of the object, and then you've got the distance r.
I'm going to ask you again, if I entertain your idiotic notions of your unproven assumptions here, am I correct or am I incorrect that if things are attached to the Earth, are they still maintaining a separate gravitational pull? Or does it link up and become at one with the larger mass beneath it? Can you elaborate? Can you elaborate on your nonsensical concepts? Can you clarify some of these points? Are you capable?
Between the centre of masses of the two objects. Now, when you use the football in the water...
What is it about the centre of any object? Is there some sort of geometry there? What is it that's happening at the centre of any mass that's invoking and creating this mystical, invisible energy that you call gravity? Can you elaborate on that? Can you practically demonstrate it? Can you clarify any of these points? I highly doubt it. I don't think you've considered it enough or given it enough thought. I think you've just ran with your wee beliefs and you've been patted on the back and told you're a good boy, and that's fed your wee beta ego, and you've ended up like this.
So here's our water. What a great drawing that is. On the football, Then R is given by this value here from the centre of the football to the water.
More assumptions. Radius of an assumed sphere. That's a circle. That's a squiggly line. That's just a line there. I mean, what are you doing here, sir?
And M1 would represent the mass of the football, which isn't very big.
So is the ball that's now attached to the earth maintaining its own gravitational force? Or again, I'm going to ask you, is it now collectively part of the larger circle? What is it? What's going on?
M2 would represent the mass of the water.
Have you got any practical demonstrations of your mass attracting mass? Or are you just going to use circular reasoning and jump to your assumption and make excuses? Oh, the earth, No, that's not how it works. Practically demonstrate it. Show us all these assumptions are true. Answer all the points that have been put to you here.
Which isn't very big. R2, well, when we square the radius and we plug all these numbers in, what we find is that the
Plug them onto where? That empty vessel.
force between them isn't very big, but it is there. It's just not very big.
What force? Again, I've got to keep asking you, what force are you talking about? What is it about the centre of a mass that it's down to reality that invokes and makes this magical force appear? Are you going to say it's warping and bending space-time, the fabric of space-time? Although none of that has a fabric. They're just mathematical concepts that exists on whiteboards and paper. We're talking about reality here, conspiracy cats. You know, the real world of stuff, substances, things that can be quantified and measured, practically shown. You know, like in engineering and all these kind of real world things.
But what we're forgetting is, underneath the football, Del, we have a huge planet called Earth.
Notice these wee NLP tactics. That's like he's talking to children again. Anybody who has their kids involved with characters like this, I highly recommend that you pull them away from predatory minds like this, because this guy is a danger to your child's development, right? This guy is hell-bent on subduing your child and keeping them dumb, right? So that predators and weak beta males like him can have the upper hand in a reality that they can't handle, right? They need deceptive methods in order to get on in the world, because they've just no got it in them.
So, this force of attraction between the water and the Earth, well, M2 can still...
What about when the ball is down on the earth, conspiracy tard? What about when the ball is connected to the earth? Are they not all one mass now? No? Please answer.
represent the mass of the water. M1 is going to represent the mass of the planet. And when we plug all the numbers in, we find, surprise, surprise, what a shock, that the force pulling the water down to the ground is so much bigger than the force attracting the water to the ball. So, in the model that the scientific world accepts...
What is the way in which objects fall go today with establishing the dimensions of the Earth? Can you please clarify? Can you please answer? With specifics and practical references. That's the standard we expect. That's what we need in order to have progress and understanding. Can you achieve any of these things?
Accepts. Your demonstration, well, it just fits with it, doesn't it?
No. The demonstration was to demonstrate the substance known as water. No this garb here, or this gobbledygook. Just a simple demonstration of an objective substance and its known, definite physicality. Where's yours? This is just no good enough, son.
That's number one. Point number two, Dal. You were looking at a tray where things were floating.
Let's just no look at any more of your garbage, okay? Until you can come to the table. Look, all we're getting here is just, look, waffle, 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 circles, squiggly lines, language, rhetoric, NLP, insistence, appeals to authority, ridicule. This guy is just a lying manipulator. I'm sorry, conspiracy cats, but you leave me no option but to come to that conclusion. You're willfully ignorant. You're willfully trying to perpetuate. I understand the concept that is the globe. I understand it as a concept that exists in the realms of mathematics. I understand that. I accept that. You need to learn to accept it. You need to learn to accept that there is a separation between what you are shown here and the actual practical demonstrable reality. They're two different things, which is why what you're shown here is classed as a formal science, because it's linguistics. It means nothing. I hope you pull your socks up and learn and show me that you're intellectually honest and raise your bar and come to the table. If you don't, I'm just going to put you down as another clown zealot. That's where you already are for me. But I'm always willing to give people a chance. As I say, you, son, are the one that has to face the public. You have to live in reality where people will know that you actively try to perpetuate bullshit and lies. I don't want that for you. Circles and circles and circles. Drawings, drawings, drawings.
Every single second. Will have enough energy to escape the Earth's gravitational field into the vacuum of space.
Why are you talking about these things? You've never shown them to be true. Escaping the Earth into the vacuum of space. Again, you know, I'm going to pull you up again on a later video in regards to gas and its behaviours. And I constantly see you misrepresenting what's referred to as gas pressure. Okay, now this guy continually talks about gas pressure with volume and containment, right, and draws wee pictures on his whiteboard. Again, he talks about, you know, a gradient, which is totally different from a pressure valve on the outside of a container. The gradient that's experienced by a barometer is that it's a column of mass above pushing down, which is weight. As you move up that column, there is less mass above you, so there is less weight. That's what a barometer does. He should know this, but he just doesn't. He's not interested in the actual truth. And again, I'm not going to jump to assumptions about what his reasoning is. I'll leave that up to people to decide. And again, I'm going to offer and give him the opportunity to try and come to a table and express his rational reasoning processes.
Space. That does happen. We lose atmosphere to space every single second. All right, now, another thing that you say is that wherever we go, the Earth looks locally flat. We never see the curvature.
So this is another aspect of their sophistry, locally flat, right? And now he's going to just make assumptions about radiuses and draw mere circles. The guy's lost in cartoon world. Again, conspiracy cats, it's a fact that the practical world utilises and uses Euclidean plane principles. You profess to be some sort of mathematician that's teaching kids, but yet you don't know that. What are you going to then say again? It's just locally flat. Really? What about the structures that are built? What about things like the Channel Tunnel that was built? Using Euclidean plane engineering principles, yet again, where two sides met each other with precision in the middle. Okay? That's using Euclidean principles. No non-Euclidean spherical geometry. Planar geometry. Fact. Demonstrable. Unavoidable. Pure and simple. What are you going to say? It's just because it's locally flat. What do you mean? How can that be? How can people who are building constructs over 50 miles, how can you say that's just locally flat and negate hundreds of feet of curving earth and water above you and below you? Come on, son. You are pretty obvious. You're just ridiculous. You're on here as a jester. As I say, you're appealing to the chaff, the bewildered, and you're trying to keep them in their little pen. You know it, I know it, and I see right through you.
Even when we stand on a beach and we're looking out at the horizon, it just looks flat. Well, let's look at why, shall we? Mathematically, we calculate the curvature of any sphere by the equation 1 over r squared.
Mathematical concepts, again, assumptions. axioms that were never taken from direct reality, just arbitrarily plucked from thin air, fucked onto a whiteboard and insisted upon by bewildered, idiotic morons like him.
No.
Naughty little boy.
246. That's the curvature. Now, curvature is the instantaneous gradient. I know you understand the term gradient. A hill with a steep gradient, you know, would look like that, wouldn't it? Steep, it's going up.
Yes, let's talk about gradients. Let's talk about axioms. Let's talk about the geometric applications and the assumptions that are made about the earth beneath our feet. What level actually is in the real practical applied world. Well, there is no incline or decline or gradient. It's a level line, you know, like straight across. That's what level means in reality, son. I'm going to share a wee video with you that Execrate 200 was so kind to have put up after he found it. Let's see what this is going to say. This is quite interesting. Again, this is more practical applications in reality that people like conspiracy cats and the other globe cult zealots have to avoid, have to deny, have to, you know, dance in circles around continually. Again, it has to be willful ignorance. I really struggle to understand their reasoning processes. You know, it's like they're deliberately trying to evade reality. Now, what I have to question is, why would you be doing that? What are you invested in? What is it? Are you under duress? Have you done something in your life that's put you in this position? Are you just a willfully ignorant, bewildered moron? I mean, I would love you to clarify. I'm always looking to understand. So, you're obsessed with me. You've got me in every single one of your videos. You know, it's like a serious, you know, crush that you have on me or something. I'm deeply flattered, but, you know, I'm not interested. So, I'm struggling to find and understand what you're all about. Only you can clarify that, son.
And the Egyptians used water, flat and
That's just...
Stark leveled with lasers and spirit levels. Starks believes that the Egyptians used water,
flat and level. The ancient Egyptians used a channel. It's like this one here, only it would stretch all the way along 755 feet. The whole side would put some water in, and it would act as a kind of spirit level. All he has to do is follow the line of the water along it, and then he can be sure that the pyramid base will be truly level and truly horizontal.
Are you listening, conspiracy cats? Truly level, truly horizontal, no redefined as to fit your mathematical concept of equal from the centre of a circle drawn on a whiteboard. Real world, practical use of known substances and their definite physicality.
In this way, the engineers could ensure the whole base was level.
The tool I'm using is made of wood, and it's called the A-frame. All it is two pieces of wood joined together at 90 degrees at the top with a crossbar and a hanging plumb line. To calibrate it for use, it is placed on a flat surface of water, 90 degrees.
Calibrated on a flat surface of water, because that is nature's levelling tool, sir. Eh? Very accurate, very definite, very demonstrable, very practical. This is all real world stuff, conspiracy cats. No fantastical concepts drawn on whiteboards. You must be able to see the difference here.
Top with a crossbar and a hanging plumb line. To calibrate it for use, it is placed on a flat surface of water. To calibrate it for use, it is placed on a flat surface of water. To calibrate it for use, it is placed on a flat surface of water. It is placed on a flat surface of water, and then a line, which you can see there, is marked right behind the hanging plumb line, so that you know when you test it on a surface and the hanging plumb line coincides with the mark, we know that it is showing a truly horizontal flat surface. To calibrate it for use, it is placed on a flat...
So, I don't need to keep hammering that. this guy here knows it. He knows it to be true. He knows it to be factual. He knows it to be used and utilised in everyday practicality. So say from construction, from building a dam. Again, I'm going to highlight the challenge to build a practical model using the actual substances in reality. Again, I'm going to point Mr. Catz here to an experiment that he can do practically. What I want you to do, Mr. Catz, is to get any vessel, any containment. I want you to take a measuring device like a ruler. I want you to mark evenly on each wall of your container, regardless of what its shape is. Marks, say, 5 centimetres all round your container, and make a prediction that when you fill that with the substance known as water, that it will match your pre-marked markers. Okay? The water is the most accurate levelling measuring tool known to man. Nature's levelling tool. Doesn't matter how many times you dab on your wee whiteboard or flash up images of a circle or any of that crap, you're never going to negate the real reality. Okay? The reality that is understood. The geometric assumption is that it is a plane, a level plane, horizontal plane. That is what we assume. That is what we know to be true. That is why the modern things that we use and utilise in the real world actually work. Okay, son? So anybody could go here and you will never find any sort of proof or any practicality in regards to the spherical earth claim. Absolutely nothing. The guy is just on here as a jester. He's been bumped by YouTube algorithms. He's been favoured. He's got a wee crew of people who are invested in astrophysics and astronomy, who are trying to perpetuate and keep their wee slice of the pie, you know, regardless of, you know, that being at the expense of young children, impressionable, who have a right to free expression and a free inquiry into their objective reality without browbeating beta male insecure predators like this guy and his wee cronies. You will never find anything useful here in regards to practical, demonstrable reality. No real science. Nothing. Just a jester, just a joker, using other people, trying to slander them, trying to ridicule them, so that he can keep his wee chaff bewildered audience. Because that's the type of man he is. Says a lot about you, son. You're a bit of a joke. In all fairness, you really are. So, what should be clear for people to see, you know, the further you get involved with this globe, is that it's repetition of rhetorical devices and dabbings on whiteboards and appeals to idols who lived hundreds and thousands of years ago, and, you know, my images that I see on a TV screen. It's pretty weak. You know, again, it's up to Mr. Catz to answer some of the points and to see if he's big enough to step up to the mark. We had him on once before when he was known as GCSE level maths or something, and he came on here and made an absolute arse of himself, get put straight, realised that, you know, he wasn't dealing with infants here, he was dealing with real, you know, people, and subsequently took a huff. And he either handed the Hangout link to some other idiot, or he utilised it himself and he porn bombed. Again, something else that people, if they've got their kids involved with this guy, should really be considering. You know, he's porn bombing a channel so that my channel would be shut down, and the video that he was in would be removed because he was obviously embarrassed about his performance. So, that's the type of character that you're dealing with in regards to guys like Conspiracy Cats. So, hey ho. Don't time him out. I see he's complaining there and he's coming back with baldy Catz. Let me hear your articulations. Would you like me to open up another hangout and you can join me and you can answer some of the points that have been raised here? Well, Conspiracy Catz, you were the only one that was present. Nobody else had the link. You handed it to somebody who came in and palm-bombed the channel. It wasn't me. Oh, message you and we will sort it. What's the matter? You're here. Are you not prepared? Do you need a wee script? Do you need people to help you to edit videos to try and make people look daft? Is that your bag? You're just not a big boy. I don't need any preparation. I can switch this on and speak real. Are you going to answer to any of the points that have been raised here, or am I just going to ignore you now? Never mind the porn bombing aspect. You were the only one there. So it was only you that was present. So it wasn't me that handed it to anybody else. It wasn't Marshall. Thank you. Again, I'm not going to tolerate or, condone anybody, making slanderous accusations about the guy, or jumping to assumptions to know or understand his situation. I'm not into any of that. I don't care about any of that. Whatever, you're not a porn bomber. Are you going to speak to anything that's been pointed at here this evening? Can you articulate in any way, shape or form? For anybody that sees this, it may not show up because sometimes these characters have got a way of, I don't know how they do it, but when we get back to the replay, their comments are going to be missing from the live chat. So we have here in the chat box this chap known as Conspiracy Catz, also known as Baldy Catz. Any of the points, start from the beginning. We're all interested to hear what you've got to say. She certainly is, Juan Carlos. I know my game. He's too busy in here in the chat. But he's not prepared, doesn't have a script. Well, do you want me to open up a hangout and you can come in and you can tell me? What's the matter? Have you no washed your hair? It's always the thing with these people. They will get their wee pea shooters from the undergrowth and take pop shots from afar to try and impress the bewildered chaff. That doesn't impress somebody like me. It's not going to make me go away. If your bag is just to impress the bewildered chaff, that's fine, as long as you know it. Now, as he ran away. They need some wee secure environment, where they've got a wee echo chamber of cult-like zealots that will be there to support them and try and, create a mad, scenario. He's not capable of sitting and speaking one-to-one with a guy like me. If you're with your family, why are you here in the chat box? Away you go. Where you go and enjoy yourself. As I keep telling these people, aye, message your sort out, whatever, son. Can anybody let me know, did they even try and answer any of the points while I was here in the chat box, or did they just dance as usual? The answer's just dancing. Well, this is what we expected. You know, well, as long as guys like Conspiracy Catz realise there's been a wee bit of a lull recently, and I've been involved in that lull. But although we have lulls, you know, I'm just going to come back stronger, sharper, more determined than ever before. So, you know, I don't know why people like Conspiracy Catz still try and maintain and perpetuate, you know, a dichotomy of us against them and globe versus flat. He's meant to be claiming he represents objective science. Nobody's timing you. Nobody's timing you at all. You've had ample opportunity. But you've got nothing. That's your problem. Do you understand that what you're offering up is mathematical conceptual stuff? It's a language. Do you understand that? Do you understand there's a difference between practical demonstration and objective quantification and measurement of substance? Do you understand? Do you what for charity? For charity, I'll, you know, organise a fight night, organise a ring somewhere, and I'll be the representative of objectivity and truth, and I will take on in one night any of your globe cult zealots. There's a charity night, and I'll donate every aspect of it to Des and Anne, Flat Earth Female. No, if we're going to do it for charity, we'll go with what I said, Conspiracy Catz. Get a ring organised in some arena, right? And I'll just use my fists. You can use your whole body, right? And you can have 5 lined up, and it'll just be me. Since you like to play the big alpha tough guy male and all that, and act all big. Never mind trying to dance. Have you got any points? Are you coming on? When are you available? Of course he'll not come on. Did he accept any of the other challenges? Conspiracy Catz, did you accept the challenge of a model build? Pandemonium, I would love to see the penny drop as well, but I'm really struggling to see any intellectual honesty within guys like Conspiracy Catz. You know, again, he talks about people like us and having a lack of understanding, and we understand perfectly. I understand it's a mathematical concept that he's offering. I understand it's a language that he's utilising. He doesn't understand that a man like me requires practicality. I'm a man of practicality. I'm a man who embraces and accepts my objective reality. Can we please stop timing him out? Mods, much appreciated. Just let him waffle. Right, we can see you, the baldy cats. Are you accepting any of the challenges that I put to you this evening? Have you answered on the geometric assumptions that are utilised and applied in direct reality? That being Euclidean plane principles. Have you get any response to any of these facts? Are you accepting that Euclidean plane principles are utilised? Are you accepting the model build using actual tangible substance? Are you going to accept the challenge of making a prediction and measuring out a container and then filling it with water to see that it does align with your prescribed marks, just like we do in reality? Are you going to just show the practical demonstrations? We don't need words, we're sick of your words. Never mind the agreement that water is level. This is where he's going to utilise his sneakiness. And he's going to try and redefine level. The level I mean is no deviation from one point to another. A line. Horizontal. No deviation from one point to the other. We're just seeing a continuation of dancing tactics here. It's not very good for you. You know, you're exposing yourself as the sophist. Now again, no problem. As soon as you can explain why boats vanish bottom up, you can convince me of your point. So he's now jumping to, you know, optical phenomena, non-quantifiable assertions and assumptions being made without a consideration of, you know, all the conditions that are going on, including the fact that we have spherical lenses, eyeballs. Non-quantifiable, just wee stories about, you know, boats, again, that are inconsistent, that deviate and change and vary from one day to the next. So, you know, again, the guy's just going to perform dancing techniques. I told him earlier when I, you know, prodded him in one of his comment sections that he better get his dancing shoes shined for me, because Daddy's back to poke him. And this is the best he's got. They don't vanish consistently, conspiracy cats. Are you cherry picking? It changes, it's inconclusive, it's an optical phenomena. Why do you keep thinking that the substance known as water is bending on slopes without flowing? I'm not answering your idiotic crap. You answer to me. Are you asserting that the water is bending on a gradient, on a slope, displaying it on its surface and that it's no flowing? This is how deluded he is. He's came here and danced and avoided the facts of reality. And now this is the part of the delusion of these people. It's like they're narcissistic, egotistical tendencies. Where this is all he came for, because he wants to utilise an optical phenomena and then say I'm no answering on it. So yeah, I'm shitting on the chessboard and I'm conspiracy cats, I win, yeah. You're pretty pathetic, son. Pretty pathetic. No. You know, canals are built using Euclidean plane principles. No accounting for curves. They don't work on curved surfaces. He'd probably come back and say, but the magic of gravity, the men never knew it, but gravity was making them dig it to follow the curve of my non-geometric centre of nothingness. Mental. It's alright, his partner in crime is next on the list, Mr. Simon Dan. He's next. I don't think Conspiracy Catz actually understands the severity of the situation he's in, or if he's even aware of what's actually going on about him. Aye, very good, Darwin. So people, if you're new and you've came across this, you've seen a perfect example of the title here. Pseudoscience, Sophism and Zealotry. You know, people like me understand the model. People like me understand the separation of the geometries that are being utilised and used. I understand the sophist tactics. I understand their language. I understand what it is they're trying to say. They just fail to accept that there's a separation between actual, practical, real-world demonstrations and examples and mathematical concepts carried out on paper that work as abstract mathematics. You will never get any progress from any of these people. They will never step up to the mark and represent exploration, i.e. real science. They will try and avoid it. They will try and continually sway the bewildered, the impressionable youths. And again, I'm going to leave it up to you as to what the reasons for that actually are. What it says about guys like Mr. Conspiracy Catz, what he's actually involved in, what his incentives are, what his reasons are. Because he knows. There's no way a man of any intelligence can come, listen to what's being said, you know, check out his objective reality, understand the practical applications, understand the assumed geometry of the earth in regards to what we apply in construction, engineering, navigation, and still try and assert that the image that they're seeing on a TV is our reality. The fundamental facts of actual tangible reality show you that this image is absurd, it's a falsity. I don't think you can pandemonium. You know, deducing the behaviour and what I'm seeing and listening to the guy, I don't think he can. You know, I don't know if he's invested in something or he's under duress or he's just willfully ignorant. You know, maybe he gets off on, you know, selling lies to children. I don't know. But one thing's for sure, he's not representing objectivity. He's not representing honest intellect. He's not representing a man of integrity or reason. You know, he's perpetuating a dichotomy. He's adding to that. He's muddying the waters. He's you know, just all the actions of a sophist, a propaganda agent. That's what this guy contributes to. Again, he knows, and I've said it so many times, I have no horse in the race. I don't have a bias. I don't care whether there's a triangle or a fucking jobby shape. I don't care what it is. I question claims that are put to me. I am the skeptic, no guys like him. Exactly, I'll be sofas on the sofa. But as I say, it's pretty serious as far as I'm concerned, because having to lay it out again, I'm going to continually repeat this. Anybody who's professing they represent scepticism and objectivity should never be involved in perpetuating a dichotomy of ideas and concepts. These people are not involved in objectivity. They're involved in religious zealot behaviour. And only he knows the reasons why. But as I say, as time goes on, it's increasing more and more. There's all walks of life starting to question this. These people are not going to be interested in baldy cats or any of these clowns. They're irrelevant in what they're offering. Right now, they have a sway over the bewildered chaff. And I'm going to continually have an online presence to annoy them, needle them, troll them. I'm sick of telling them. I don't care about ridicule and trying to portray me in whatever light you can. I don't care about other people's appreciations or acceptances. None of that is ever going to sway me. You're barking up the wrong tree. Me too, Serenelian. Zealotry, Sherwood. Any conchillery craps. So, what were we going to expect from Mr. Catz? The same old. You get a man here that understands where he's coming from, accepts where he's coming from, tries to articulate to him the separation of conceptual mathematics and tangible, practical, real-world demonstrations. I have laid out specific challenges for him that he will avoid. He will sit on his little soapbox, trying to browbeat and keep his bewildered little chaff in line with dabbities on a whiteboard full of assumptions and crazy beliefs. I expect nothing less. I will be deeply surprised if he raises the bar and steps up to the mark, but I highly doubt it. Maybe that's what their game is. One man, he's detector. Maybe they think they're going to get some sort of reward. Maybe they think they're going to get a slot on mainstream TV. Just delusions. There's a massive change happening here. There's a massive rumbling of people starting to question the very foundations of their reality and what they've assumed to be true. And you've got bewildered guys like conspiracy cats running about, putting themselves in a right pickle. And I'm compassionate. I see what's happening. I know what's coming. And I don't want them to be in that situation. Maybe that's a flaw of mine, that I have that compassion for obvious sophists. But again, I don't know the reasons. I don't understand his situation. and what's actually driving him. Maybe he just is really deluded into believing the crap that he spews. Maybe it's as simple as that. Who am I hostile to? Teen Learns, Stock Hook. Are you another one of these new age snowflakes? I don't know if you understand, but I've been here doing this now for nigh on 5 years. Right? And I've had to put up with all sorts of nonsense from propaganda agents like conspiracy cats. So I'm a bit passionate, I'm a bit straight to the point. I don't fuck about. I've not got time to fuck about. You know, for me, this is, you know, massively serious. Funny, but serious, this situation that we're in. And I really want to know what else is out there. So, excuse me if I'm a bit pissed off that I was born into a mad religious cult, filling my mind full of ideas and concepts about my existence and who I am and what's expected of me. Because once you snap out of that hypnotic trance and you realise and you can see it for what it is, it leaves you a wee bit pissed off that you've got active human beings who are trying to perpetuate the hypnotic state. So, maybe if you fully understood what was actually going on, you would be championing my pissed off, abrasive, straight to the point attitude. Because I'm abrasive and straight to the point and a bit hostile, doesn't mean to say that I wish harm upon any other sentient being, or that I would violently interact with them or anything like that. So maybe you should snap out of the snowflakiness. That would just be mere delusions, Gin CBR1. %, agree beyond belief. If you aren't pissed off at sophist gimps gatekeeping people and innocent children into ignorant stupidity, maybe you're stupid. Aye, exactly. It certainly is, riddle me that. If you look at the whole game, the whole structure is to shackle you emotionally, psychologically and physically into accepting the concept that, you know, we call life and its ideas and practices. Whether it's religious or a scientific narrative, existential narrative, it's all limiting. It's all geared towards limiting your explorative, inquisitive mind to accepting your fate, that you're stuck in one position. It's all been discovered and that's it. Tier 67. What do you know about the Weight Watchers paying for the gravity hoax? The more you believe gravity, the more they can manipulate you to pay them. Big money. Exactly. Well, I said that, you know, months ago, a year ago. You know, all we need to do is move further away from the, you know, move towards the equator. And you will get Weight Watcher of the Month, because that's mere absurdities and their idiotic concept that the centrifugal force is counteracting gravity at the equator. As you move inwards from that point, there's less centrifugal force to counteract the magical, invisible, non-geometric, non-substance, invisible force that is gravity. So that then you would be heavier. So, if you're a Weight Watcher and you want your wee badge and, you know, the freedom to eat a cake on a Friday night, I suggest that you book a train ticket or a flight towards the equator, jump on the scales, or away from the equator, jump on the scales and get your reward. Or we could all be millionaires. Jump down to the equator, buy some gold, bring it back up the road, fucking yee-haw, it weighs more now. So that way execrate 200. NASA is sponsored by Weight Watchers. I think so. Have you looked at some of the New Age astronauts? There's no one of them has got any kind of muscle definition. They're all out of shape, want to be sociopathic gimps. Right? All the fucking chaff that will do anything for a bit of fame and a bit of money. Right? Because I remember when I was a kid, it was put to me that you had to be in peak physical condition. You had to be an athlete to withstand the demands on your physical being of going to the non-entity that is the vacuum of space and a wee firework. But yet nowadays, we'll get pie eaters, podgies, couldn't do one sit-up, one pull-up, one press-up. But yet these are the people who are taking us to the outer reaches of human endeavours. Very good. Any other points here, people? What else did I have up here? Let me see. So when you type all this stuff in, more mass, more gravity, anything that has mass also has gravity. Objects with more mass have more gravity. You exert the same gravitational force on Earth that it does on you, but because Earth is so much more massive than you, your force doesn't really have an effect on our planet. What if I'm connected to the fucker? Am I now no part of the mass? No. Again, maybe the sophists like conspiracy cats will speak to these points. I can't wait. The answer, what was this? When an object lands on Earth, it adds more gravity. The answer is gravity. An invisible force that pulls objects towards each other. An invisible force. Right there and then people should be going, hang on a minute. An invisible force. Invisible. So, you know, I'm being held together right now because my guardian angel has enveloped me and sings a song that vibrates to the frequency of the matter of my being, that holds it in its solid form. But it's invisible. Prove me wrong. Prove me fucking wrong. Aye. They doubt your existence. I know you're there. I can hear you, aye, I know. They're fucking morons. Aye. If it wasn't for you, I would just be exploding all over the place. I know. I appreciate you. Oh, lovely one. Thank you, my angel. I know angels are real. I'm not denying it. I've just told you. My angel is invisible. It's an invisible force that holds my very being together. It's also having conversations with my higher invisible self that exists in the invisible realm along with gravity and the angels and all that. So this is science, people. Invisible forces that baldy people dabbing on blackboards prove are real. Did I meditate? Sometimes I sound like a Buddhist. Now I'm ripping the piss. Sorry. I'm ripping the shots, right, to make a point. I don't want to take away anybody's, you know, concepts and fantasies about angels and all that. I mean, it's a lovely thought, right? Who am I to deny anybody of that, right? But I'm just using it to rip the pish. Because apparently, invisible forces is scientific. We're going to get into that very soon, about a force and how to separate. I'm going to use a sentient being like myself as an example of motion, the mechanics of motion, and what that force is that is actually driving that, right? Because as I said before, there's a separation, there's a difference between, you know, what the forces may be that are producing the laws of nature, as we call them. But I'm going to take it to my own individual experience and deduce from that and, you know, offer up the possibilities of what's actually going on. Because as far as I can tell right now, the force that's driving this physicality is metaphysical. And I'll explain why that is. And then we'll highlight how some of that's been hijacked and mixed up. Exactly, Execrate 200. You already know where I'm going with this. Well, I've done the Cavendish experiment. My two balls have sank and are now attracted to each other at this very moment. That's all the proof we need. There you go. If you want to come and inspect my balls, and I'll show you. But at will, I can pull them upwards, like right now, and create a separation. So my will is an anti-gravity device, because I separated the two masses at will. Yep, Dave Finkel, spot on. Metaphysics have purposely been muddied up with real physics, exactly. Drop an apple, feel the force. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I have to point to you to this. Nothing starts from a position of floating in fucking mid-air. In order for anything to fall, energy must be expended in order to take it from its position. Okay? Right, I've been on longer than I intended. So as I say, we'll just see. It's pretty obvious what's going to be coming back. Right, the same old garbage. But I'm going to just keep meeting it head on. They have an influence online. They know that there's a way to influence online. So it's up to us to make sure that we keep a presence as well. Okay? But majority is in the real world. Interacting with real people every day. Have your discussions there. Bring it up in conversation. Add it in if you can. Be, you know, methodical. Think about what you're offering people. Think about how you're trying to affect and induce the thought in them. They're suffering from a hypnotic trance right now. You have to have some compassion about it. You have to be wily. You have to think about how hypnotism, how indirect effect actually works in order to trigger people into having thought. Okay? So, both apply, right? And again, you know, they run about supporting each other on here, and there's so many sock accounts. Don't let any of that blind you. That's the only option they have, is to try and sway people by using these kind of devices. They don't have anything practical, they don't have anything demonstrable, objective, quantifiable. They have nothing. The globe is nothing. It's an imaginary concept that exists only in your imagination. Well, the real world that's right under your nose is screaming at you, telling you that it's not an idiotic, oblate spheroid concept. So, hopefully, people have got something out of this. And again, I discourage people jumping on bandwagons. I don't support any of that. I don't represent any of that. Right? I only hope that people can move past their ego and their bias and step up to the mark. This is not going away. People have got every right to question the very foundations of their existence. And anybody who wants to be involved in that should be coming purely from an objective point of view, without trying to bring in subjective, you know, propagandist tactics, Sophism. It's very simple. If it's real, it can be quantified, it can be practically demonstrated, measured, repeated, it can be scaled. The very base assumption that we utilise and apply in every aspect of our existence is Euclidean plane geometry. Does not concern itself with curved surfaces. That tells you everything. That's your reality. The struggle is your hypnotic state, that you see an image on the screen. You have sophist manipulators who are trying to browbeat you into accepting their authority. Grow a set. Nobody dominates you. Nobody owns you. Nobody owns your processes. Nobody owns your right to question or discern. You're the scientist. You're the explorer. You're the inquisitive mind. Utilise and use your very constitution. Don't let another man try and rob you of that, regardless of what rhetorical devices and manipulative tactics they try and utilise against you. That will only work when you're in a position of attachment to others' acceptance. Pull your head out your ass. Stand on your own 2 feet. You should be an expression of yourself. No give a fuck about anybody's opinion or want to destroy you or pull you down. Cheers mods, cheers everybody for being here, everybody in the chat for participating. Much appreciated. Get it right up there. See you very soon.